Okay, hello and welcome to Celebrate Latinx and Hispanic Heritage via Learning Commons resources. This webinar is part of an ongoing series that my fellow librarians and I are doing on the different heritage and history months throughout the year. So if you haven't attended any of the other ones, then please keep an eye out for other similar webinars coming up in the next few months. I am Craig Anderson. I'm one of the helpful and enthusiastic librarians at Kean University in the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons. With me are my colleagues Linda Cifelli and Chrysler Pitts.
Hi.
Okay. And I'm just going to start right now with giving you a little outline of what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be starting with the introduction. That's actually what I'm doing right now. And then I'm going to go into some of the multimedia resources that we have with respect to Latinx and Hispanic heritage. And then my colleague, Ms. Pitts, will be going over biography resources, some scholarly journals, historical newspapers in some of the online databases that we have. And then Ms. Cifelli is going to be going over the research guides, some of the statistics guides that we have, and how to find scholarly journals with respect to Latinx and Hispanic heritage. And then finally, at the end, we're going to open up to discussion and questions, if there are any. What I'm going to do right now is go into the Learning Commons homepage. So hold on while I get out of this menu. I'm going to go to the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons homepage right here. And when you go to the Learning Commons homepage, you can get there by going to learningcommons.kean.edu, and it will take you to this website. It's kind of clunky URL up here. And then there are these two pop-up windows that come up immediately. There's Welcome to the LC Engagement Zone right here. There's a very big pop-up here. And there's also a Learning Commons support chat window. A lot of the resources that we're going to be going over today are going to come from this A to Z databases page. A lot of them, not all of them. So you can get to the A to Z database page here, or if you've already gotten past this window, you can also find our A to Z databases page in this small link right here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the A to Z databases page, and this will bring us to a list of all 249 of the databases that we subscribe to here at Kean. And I'm just going to be showing you a few of the multimedia databases that we have. I'm going to start with the Naxos Music Library databases. So under Naxos Music Library, we actually have two of them. We have Naxos Music Library right here and Naxos Music Library Jazz as well. So far, we don't have Naxos Music Library Heavy Metal, but I'm still holding out for that one. If we go to Naxos Music Library, this will let us find streaming audio. Oops, sorry, privacy setting here, save and exit. This will let us find streaming audio of music. Lots of different music sources. Most of the music that you'll find in Naxos Music Library is classical music. So as we're looking for music that to celebrate Hispanic heritage and Latinx Heritage Month, we're probably not going to find a lot of Carlos Santana here, but we can probably find Andres Segovia, who's a Spanish composer from back in the day. He's one of the earliest guitarists in the late 18 to early 1900s. And we can find some of his music here. If we want to listen to it, we just click on one of these, and this will give us all of the audio tracks from this particular album. And it's, essentially for free online. We can go to any of these if we want to listen to them. I haven't actually listened to any of these yet. And then we can click the big play button right up here, and it should start playing these selections in guitar. I can make that a little louder. And we can listen to this whole thing here. If we need to, we can skip back a couple seconds or go ahead a couple seconds. We can select a number of these different musical pieces, and then we can set them on the shuffle. It's just like on Spotify or one of those other music listing services. So here's a way we can increase the volume. So that's something that we can do to find different musical pieces through Naxos Music Library. You know what? I actually want to try and see if they have anything by Carlos Santana, just to see if he's done any kind of, no, I'm not seeing anything. Well, not Carlos anyway. See if he had done any kind of classical pieces, because, oh, The Sound of Metal. I was wrong. There is metal on here. Interesting. So that's Naxos Music Library. And we also do have, like, as I said before, Naxos Music Library Jazz. It works very similar to Naxos Music Library, but that will focus on jazz and some blues and other genres related to jazz as well. But for right now, I'm going to get out of the Naxos Music Library and go to another multimedia database that we have. Is called Films on Demand. Films on Demand through info-based learning. This is a site, a database that has mostly online videos. A lot of these are streaming online videos. It's interesting, that's bringing up the great composers. I feel like Films on Demand was spying on me and knows that I was just in Naxos Music Library. So a lot of the Films on Demand here are mostly of the educational or informational documentaries. They have a lot of those here. But I can do a search here for Hispanic Heritage Month. And I was just looking at this before, and it actually surprised me a little bit, because some of the most recent things I'm finding on Hispanic Heritage here, like the third video here is actually celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month at Kane University. And that was interesting to me because Films on Demand isn't in any way associated with Kane University. We just have a subscription to it. And they have a few things here immediately on Hispanic Heritage Month from right here at Kane. You know if we added these videos to this database? I don't think we did.
No.
And we can watch this video here. We can go full screen with it if we want to. I was actually there when this band was playing. I'm in the background somewhere, but I don't think they got me on video. So as I said, we can watch this video in total. We can share this video if we want to. If one of the viewers here is a professor, we can they can share this with their class. I believe there's ways that we can share it on a Blackboard if they'd like to. And then it will also give us similar videos down here as well. I don't see how these are similar, but one other thing we can do, let me just go to one of these other videos here. One of the things that I was going to say is that Hispanic heritage is a little bit generic, but if you wanted to get into something specific, because Hispanic heritage covers a lot of different cultures, even Latinx heritage covers a lot of different cultures. But if you wanted to focus on, say, like Cuban Americans, for example, we can do a search for that, and it will bring us a video of video segment about Cuban Americans from the video Blending of Culture, Latino Influence on America. So we can go to this video, for example. and watch this. Let me bring the volume down a little bit. And one of the things that I like about Films on Demand is that we can also have access to the transcript over here. If we click on transcript, it will show us what's being said as the video progresses. So if we want to find something specific within this video, we can do a Control F for find. Oh, no, that takes the full screen. I don't know why it does that in Films on Demand sometimes. Okay. So we have to actually click off of the video, like click on this empty space here, and then do Control F, and then it will bring the find screen. But if we do that, then we can find within this video, like if we want to search for, it's only oh no, it's a half-hour video. Okay, never mind. If we want to find like how many times the word Havana is mentioned within this transcript, we can do that. Apparently it's only mentioned once. So it mentions it here. So we can just click here right in the transcript and it will take us to that moment in the video. So in that way, we can actually search within this video. Some of these videos tend to be kind of long, but if we just want to search for a particular snippet or particular bit of information, we can do that. And you'll notice that there are also all these tags here under the description of that we can click on if we want to find just videos about Cuban immigration to the US. We can do that and it will bring us to this search. So it's searching specifically for Cuban immigration and not just Cuban Americans in general. And we can look through those. So that's Films on Demand. It can be a lot of fun to just kind of go through Films on Demand and go through the different videos and the different segments. And as I said before, it's very educational and informational, but it can also be a lot of fun. So I definitely encourage you to use Films on Demand as well as the videos from the Naxos Music Library, as well as the videos that my colleagues or the resources that my colleagues are about to talk to us about. So next we're going to have Ms. Pitts tell us about biography resources, scholarly journals, and historical newspapers. So are you ready to go, Krista? Let me stop sharing so you can continue. There we go.
Thanks, Craig. And can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet.
There it goes. Oh,
okay.
There it goes.
Good afternoon. For the next few moments, we will look at databases that provide biography resources, scholarly journals, and we will look at historical newspaper, where you can find articles on Latinx and Hispanic individuals. I'm going to start at the A through Z databases page, the same place Craig started, and I'm going to use the All Database Types menu and select biographies. And we have 7 databases that provide biographies. And for today's presentation, I'm going to look at Biography Reference Bank. This database features biographical profiles as well as obituaries, magazine articles, images, and even performance reviews. And for today's demonstration, I decided to search for a well-known Latinx performer. And as soon as the database loads, I will begin my search. And I'm going to look for Jennifer Lopez. And she's very well known. She's an actress and a musician. And I'm going to look for biographies on Jennifer Lopez. And if you look on the left-hand side of my screen, you'll see that I have all different types of materials. I have magazines, trade publications, biographies, reviews, and interviews. And in the list of results, we have 531. And let's just look at our first result. This is a biography, and you'll notice that there are 2 biographies here, one from 1998 and one from 2011. So if you want to see the biography, you'll click the link, and the biography will load. And it's loading. And our biography is right here. And this is a little bit old, but we will see a more up-to-date biography. But with the EBSCO database, you have lots of tools. If you look on the tools menu here to the right, you can print this article if you'd like, or email it to yourself, or save it to a disk. EBSCO also gives you the option of copying a citation. You can choose the style if you're using APA or MLA, but remember these are machine generated, so you still have to check them. If you're using a bibliographic manager program, you can export to EndNote or EasyBib, or if you have another program. There's a new feature where you can create a note and save it for yourself, but you have to be signed in to your folder to save the note. There's also the permalink. I know a lot of times people want to save the link at the top of the screen, but that link expires. If you want to get back to the article, this permalink that you see on the screen is the link that you want to save to get back to the article. And this database, EBSCO, gives you the option of actually listening to the article. You can have it read to you if you'd like. And you
Lopez, Jennifer.
Okay.
Full text.
We're not going to do that right now, but I just wanted to give you a quick example. But you can also translate the article. Like, for example, if you'd prefer to read it in Spanish, you can change and translate it. I'm not going to translate it now. It takes a while before the translation appears. So in the essence of saving time, it will not translate. But let's just go back to our result list for just a minute. And you notice that this biography was from 2011. But in the result list, we have other types of resources that you can use. And once this loads, you'll see that there's actually a biography in this list from 2021. This biography right here is from Great Lives from History, Latinos, and it was published in 2021. So this is a more up-to-date biography of Jennifer Lopez, and you'll see that there's actually a color photo. Before we move on to the other database, I just wanted to show you that this database also includes videos, and I don't see it in this search, but a little bit earlier, I'll just show you really quickly. In addition to getting biographies and articles, you'll see right here, the database includes 80 video results for Jennifer Lopez. So in addition to finding biographical information, reviews, magazines, articles, interviews, the database includes 80 video results. Now let's switch gear, and we're going to look at another database that you can use. And we're going to look at a scholarly journal database. And I'm going to use the All Subjects menu, and I'm going to scroll down and select Hispanic Studies. And there are 12 databases that you can use. And for today's search, I'd like to use Ethnic Diversity Source. This is one of our new databases, and it supports the study of African Americans, Arab Americans, Asian Americans, European Americans, Jewish Americans, Latinx Americans, multiracial Americans, and Native Americans, among others, with respect to their cultures, traditions, social treatment, and lived experiences. Scholarly journals, magazines, newspapers, historical documents, and biographies are complemented by primary sources such as speeches and interviews. So this is a really good database for not only articles, but primary source documents such as speeches and interviews. And we are also using another EBSCO database, so the interface is similar to what you just saw. And I'm just going to perform a quick search and look for scholarly peer-reviewed articles. And the subject that I'm going to use today is, I'm going to look for Latinos or Hispanics in higher education and success. So I'm going to use parentheses, and the database will search for either or term within the parentheses. And I'm also using an asterisk at the end of the word so that the database will give me the ending. For example, if I type Latin with an asterisk, it's going to give me Latinx or Latina or Latino. For Hispanic, it will give me Hispanic, Hispanics. And I'm going to combine my terms with higher education or college or university. And again, I'm using the little asterisk, and the database will put on the additional endings for me. And I'm going to use the term success. So I want to look for articles that talk about Hispanics or Latinos and higher education success. I'm going to limit to scholarly peer-reviewed articles, and I'm going to limit to the last 10 years. So I'm going to search from 2011 to 2021, and let's click search. And as you can see in our list, the date range is 2011 to 2021. We have scholarly peer-reviewed articles, and in this list we have academic journals and reviews. So I'll probably just click academic journals. And if we look at one of the articles, let's look at number 2. And with this article, you'll see that the screen looks the same way it did in Biography Reference Bank. You can listen to the article, you can translate. You see that in this instance, we have the PDF full text as well as the HTML full text. If you want to listen or translate, you need to click the HTML full text. And you have the other resources on the tools menu that I showed you previously. So this is a really good database, not only for scholarly peer-reviewed literature, but also primary source documents. The last database that we're going to look at is a database that provides historical newspaper articles. So I'm going to go back to my A through Z databases page, and I'm going to click the All Database Types menu and select historical newspapers. Newspapers. And we have 18 newspapers in our collection. And the newspaper that I'm going to use is the ProQuest Historical Newspapers, the New York Times. And this is a digital image archive of the New York Times beginning in September 1851 and ending several years before the current year. And this is one of our ProQuest databases. And for this search, I decided to look for articles about Cesar Chavez. He was a U.S. labor leader, and his parents were Mexican-American immigrants, and he was born in Arizona. And in 1962, he founded the National Farm Workers Association, which sought to unionize migrant workers. And he used strikes, pickets, and marches in the struggle to win contracts from growers, and himself undertook long fasts to publicize the movement. In 1968, he promoted a nationwide boycott of California grapes, which led to the table grape growers recognizing the union in 1970. And in 1972, the United Farm Workers became a member of the AFL-CIO. So I decided, let's look for articles on Cesar Chavez and the United Farm Workers. I'm using quotes because I want the database to search for those exact phrases. So I won't have like different types of Chavezes or different types of workers. The database will search those exact phrases since they have them in quotes. I'm going to click search. And you'll notice on the left side of the screen, our articles are from 1966 to 2017. You have the option of limiting to full text. And if you look at the document type, you can choose a document type you want to review. You can just look at an article, or if you want a front page article, a display ad, editorial, or a letter to the editor. You have those options. So I'm just going to look at number 2, and this article was published in 1983 and in the New York Times, of course. And this database will give you the view. This is how the article appeared in the New York Times, September 19th, 1983. And this is the actual article. You can increase the size to make it easier for you to read. And if you click Page View PDF, it shows you how the article appeared on that page in the New York Times when it was published. ProQuest gives you tools just like EBSCO. If you click the All Options link, you'll see that you have different ways to share the article. You can email it, print it. ProQuest also gives you the citing options. Again, these are just like EBSCO, they're machine generated, so you have to always check them. You can save your article to Google Drive. You can cite it by exporting it to a citation management software like EndNote or EasyBib. And you have other options for saving. ProQuest also always provides related items. If you look to the right-hand side of, well, right-hand side of my screen, you'll see there are different articles. There's a dissertation, and there's also newspaper articles. So these are different ways to find articles, find information on the subject that you're researching. And that's basically all the information that I have today for my section. And now my colleague Linda Cifelli will show you how to search for additional resources on Latinx and Hispanic heritage.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks. So I'll go ahead and share my screen now. Okay, so can you see my screen, the homepage?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Well, hi, everyone. Well, both Craig and Chrysler today were focusing on how we can access various databases through the databases A to Z link. So I'd like to focus on a different option that's available to us. So right now, I am on the homepage. I had already closed out the Welcome to LC Engagement Zone box. So I'm looking at the homepage where we see the Search WorldCat Discovery search bar right in the middle of the page. Craig had earlier pointed out how there is a link to databases A to Z right below Search WorldCat Discovery. Well, a little bit further over to the right, below the search box, there's another link. This one is labeled Research Guides. And if we click on Research Guides, we end up on a web page that lists a large number of specialized research guides that have been created by the librarians at Kean University, and in some cases, some of our colleagues. When you first look at this research guide page, we can see that it is arranged by subject area, but just so you know, you could also click on all guides up above the subject area listing. There's an all guides option where you see the listing of everything that we've created, but you could also search by group or by subject and so on, by type, by owner. So I'm back on the by subject listing. And if we focus on the center column, the middle column, about halfway down, there is a link for Hispanic Studies. We click, it opens up a small menu listing 3 specific guides. We have one guide focusing on Puerto Rico and Puerto Rican studies. There's another one for pre-Columbian art, architecture, and history. And the one that we'll focus on today is the one for Latinx Hispanic heritage. And this one, we created part of this guide specifically for the Latinx Hispanic Heritage Month, building on a guide that had been initially created by our former colleague, Jeanette Gonzalez. So what we see on the first page of this guide is some information about the origins of Hispanic Heritage Month, as well as a video that's been created by the U.S. Department of the Interior, focusing on National Hispanic Heritage Month. So this really is just a celebration of the Heritage Month and some quick access to some resources that can support our celebration. Right now, we do have some links when you scroll down to the bottom for some recommended subject-focused encyclopedias. And most of these are focusing on encyclopedias that provide access to biographical information about important Latinx, Hispanic people. And you can click on the links for any of the ebooks that are listed here. You can tell that they're ebooks when they have the hyperlinked titles. Some of these books are not hyperlinked. For instance, Latinos, the Biography of the People is actually a print book that's shelved in the main collection on the second floor of the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons. But the books that do have hyperlinked titles are ebooks that are available to all of us, whether we are on or off campus. So for instance, if I click on the Oxford Encyclopedia of Latinos and Latinas in the United States, it's opening up a new window. And it's bringing me to the full text ebook available through the Oxford Reference Database. And we can just scroll down and you can click on the links for specific articles. You could also use the search within the work search box in the top towards the left, on the left, where you can type in specific keywords. I'm not going to spend time in here right now, but I do want to go back out to the previous screen. And again, I'm just going to scroll back up. And I wanted to note that along the left-hand side of this LIP guide, this research guide, we do have other pages that we can explore that are a part of this specific Latinx Hispanic Heritage Guide. This format, this layout does mirror the layout that you would see on other guides that are from our full collection. So we are in the process of switching from an older layout to this current layout. So right now we are seeing the menu options to access different pages along the left side of the screen. But occasionally, if you visit a different research guide, you will see that those page links are spread out across the top of the screen. So just wanted to give a heads up about that. But what we can do using the menus along the left is click over, and depending on the point you are in your research process, you might choose different links, different pages. So if you're just beginning a project, you can click Start Your Research here. And this is where the librarians have provided some suggestions for resources, for ebooks, for databases that you can use when you're trying to explore topic ideas, maybe get background information for topics that interest you, and just sort of get some foundational information that can help you when you start exploring even deeper in some of the other databases. Typically on the Start Your Research Here page, you will find information about subject-focused encyclopedias. It's like some of the ones that we see here. These aren't only biographical encyclopedias, but some of them are focusing on social sciences. In this case, we have an encyclopedia of activism and social justice, or an encyclopedia of Latino popular culture, an encyclopedia of sex and gender, men and women in the cultures, in the world's cultures, and so on. You can scroll over and see some others. Once again, the book titles that are hyperlinked are ebooks, and you can click that hyperlink to access the ebook. Let me just refresh the screen. For instance, here is the Handbook of World Families. It's an ebook that we are accessing through the ProQuest eBook Central database. And we do get different ebooks from different companies. So sometimes the screen that you end up on will look different depending on which company is providing the ebook. But generally you see very similar features, such as the option to read the book online, or perhaps to download the book, or to download chapters, and so on. So I could click on Read Online, and then I can read the book from my computer, and I can be working from either on or off campus, and I would have full text access to the book. Notice how this ebook happens to have a table of contents along the left-hand side. And if I scroll down, there's a chapter focusing on Latin America, and I can just click the link for any of those chapters. Here's a chapter on families in Cuba. So again, I'm getting the full text ebook, the content from this ebook. So this is just by providing the links for ebooks in this way, we are providing quick access to ebooks, as well as the information you would need to track down print books in the Learning Commons. And these are books that can be helpful at the beginning stages of a project. And we do have some other resources that can help you for this point of the process. For instance, if we scroll down a bit further below the book section, there is a section focusing on recommended online reference databases, where we provide links to databases like Britannica, Encyclopedia Moderna, several Britannica databases actually. We also have Gale eBooks, Sage Knowledge. These are the types of databases that you can go into and access articles that were originally published in encyclopedias, handbooks, or other reference books. This particular database that I just went into is Sage Knowledge, and it's a very user-friendly, I think, database, and it provides coverage of many different subject areas. And if I just type in something like Latinx, and run the search, you can get an idea of the articles that are available from various subject encyclopedias through the Sage Knowledge Database. As we scroll down, we can see that in some cases we're able to access specific chapters, and in other cases we'd be accessing entire books. So we can scroll down and see what is of interest. Here we have Latino Americans, and gender. If I click on the link there, I can access the full text article. As Chrysler had pointed out earlier with the other databases, you tend to get similar options available to you in the databases, such as the ability to download the article as a PDF or to get some assistance with citing the article. And as she mentioned earlier, you do have to be careful. It is computer generated or machine generated, so it may not be perfectly formatted. You need to look it over and make any corrections as necessary. You can also click share and send the article to yourself by email. But this is an example of just one of the databases that we can use to access subject encyclopedia articles for the beginning of your research process. But we have many other options available. And I'm just back on the research guide. I am going to come back to this Start Your Research Here page a little bit later, but I wanted to point out there are some other database options, such as recommended multimedia database, Films on Demand, which Craig covered, as well as some databases that are helpful for statistics or links to related research guides. I am actually going to come back to the statistics databases in a minute or two, but I just wanted to quickly cover some of the other pages that you can access from the menu along the left, such as the Find Books page, which you could use to get some guidance about how to search for books or ebooks within the Learning Commons library resources. So it actually provides some information about WorldCat discovery, but we also have direct links to some of our ebook databases, as well as how to locate books in other libraries should the Kean University library not have access to specific books that you need. And then some information about interlibrary loan. I'm not going into much detail here, but I wanted to give you an overview of what's available to you on these various pages. On the left, there's another page for Find Articles. When you click, you do have some recommended databases that you could use for your research when you're looking for articles from journals, magazines, and newspapers. These databases are also available from the Databases A to Z page, which both Chrysler and Craig had demonstrated a few minutes ago. But here we have some recommended databases for Hispanic heritage, as well as recommended databases for multidisciplinary coverage. So you can click these links and access these specific databases from anywhere. I'm not going to go into all of these databases. I did want to mention that if you hover your mouse over the I, the circle with the I in it, to the right of any of the database names, you get a description of the database, and hopefully that description can help you to make your selections, decide which databases to use. A number of these databases are from the EBSCO company, others are from the ProQuest company, but we have some other databases coming from different vendors as well. I, in particular, wanted to go into Project Muse, which is a database we haven't yet discussed. It's listed under the multidisciplinary section, and Project Muse, I think, can be very useful, as can JSTOR, because they both cover many different topics, many different subject areas. So often, depending on the topic that you're exploring, these are the types of databases that can often work for you because they give you information about your topic from different academic subject area perspectives. Project Muse is very scholarly. And if we type in keywords such as Latinx and college students, I'm using the word "and" as a connector between the search terms and run the search. What I'll find is that I'm getting access to articles or some book information picking up on these search terms. But as you scroll down, you may see that you're finding some articles that are interesting to you or relevant to what you're pursuing. And any of these that have the link, you can just click. I was just looking, there was one in particular. Here's one, Latinx students' sense of feminismo in undergraduate science and engineering. I can click download to download the entire article from Project Muse. So it's a 28-page long article, and it's an article about a study, so it is scholarly. But here we are, this is an article from the Review of Higher Education, so it's an education journal. But we would be getting articles from other subject areas as well through Project Muse. So I'm just going to go back, and again, I'm not going to go through every single database here, but we always encourage students to explore different databases. Maybe try databases that you haven't used before, because you can be pleasantly surprised by the types of information and the wide variety of information that you can get from different databases. Just wanted to quickly point out that along the left, we do have several other pages that you can utilize, including find websites, where our former colleague Jeanette Gonzalez had actually curated a list of websites that can be useful for exploring Hispanic heritage, including websites focusing on the arts, literature, and music. But also along the left, there's a site sources page, which does appear on every single one of our research guides, where you can get information about, as well as access to the wide variety of citation manuals that you might use for various courses, including MLA style, APA, Chicago style, and so on. So we do have links to ebook versions of some of these guides, but we also have links to some very helpful websites that can help you when you are citing sources in specific citation styles. So we would encourage you to explore this site sources page, as well as the Get Handouts page, where we have some handouts that we share with students from a variety of courses, a variety of subject areas. Just in conclusion, I wanted to head back to start your research here. I had mentioned earlier that when you scroll down, we do have below the reference resources section, there is a section for recommended statistics databases. At the moment, we do have 3 databases that are excellent for gathering data and statistics. We do have Social Explorer, which you can use to access information from the US Census, as well as other data sources. Policy Map is a newer database to us that features an online GIS mapping tool. Still getting familiar with using that database myself, but it's something that we would encourage you to explore. And finally, we do have Statista, which I will go into right now, just for a minute or two. And Statista is, I think, a very user-friendly database. It allows you to explore by some of the popular topics that are trending right now, but you also have the ability to type in keywords in the search box. So for instance, if I just type in Latinx and run the search, what I'm finding, what we're seeing right now, is that we have a search result of 74. And using the little symbol that appears to the left of each item on the list, I can tell what type of source it is. The ones that have the little blue square are statistics sources. If I scroll further, there may be different types of squares. Actually, seems like most of them are blue here. But the blue ones are actually, when I click, are going to give me access to graphs or visual representations of the data that has been gathered by different sources. So for instance, here's one: total funds raised by Black and Latinx women founders in the US in the year 2020. So what I get is a graph that demonstrates the statistics. And we can get graphs, visual representations of the data on so many different topics. If I type in Hispanic here, and I'm just doing very general searches right now, but I just wanted you to see the wide variety of information that you can get. And of course, you can plug in more specific searches. So if you're focusing on Hispanic and college students or something else, you can be more specific. But here I have an example of different types of sources where we have some of the orange squares that are dossiers or statistical reports. The red one is a topic report. And then I have a lot of the blue squares that again are the data, the graphical representation of the data. So for instance, here I have one, Hispanic health in the US. It's one of the statistical dossiers. When I click on it, I have the chance to download it as a PDF. And what I get is this report, happens to be a 67-page report about Hispanic health in the US. As I scroll down, table of contents that provides links to specific pages focusing on different data, statistics, and so on. So very comprehensive, as we can see. If I scroll back or go back to the result list, if I click over on one of the options that has the blue square, here we have radio reach among Hispanics in the US 2021, so very specific, or total Hispanic food at home household expenditure in the US in 2019. So we always want to pay attention to when the data is from, but we're getting some from 2021, 2020. Here we have some slightly older. And if I click on one of these, once again, well, this one's not a graphical representation, but I do have a table with the data. What I do get along the right are different options for downloading. This one, it has a bit fewer options that we typically see, but let me go back over to a different one. Okay, here's a graphical representation. On the right, the different options for downloading, including downloading as a PDF. I can download it as an Excel spreadsheet. So for instance, if I'm taking a statistics course and I want to get some data into an Excel spreadsheet that I can analyze, I can download as Excel. I have download as a PNG, as an image. And then I also have an option to download as a PowerPoint slide. So if I'm preparing a presentation and I'd like to drop this graph into a PowerPoint slide, I have the ability to do that. We have the source information. This one happens to be coming from the US Census Bureau, as well as a link out to the original source. And then we have a details option. We get more information about how the data was gathered, as well as an FAQ, how the data was gathered, and so on. I would just encourage you to explore the Statista database when you have a chance. It could be useful for so many different types of courses, so many different types of topics. And it is kind of fun to use, I think. I think Craig mentioned that Films on Demand is fun. I think Statista is fun too in its own way. So we would just encourage you to explore Statista as well as any of the other databases that we've explored today. But I will turn the mic back over to Craig. Let me stop sharing my screen. I can see where it is. Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Linda. I just went over to share my screen, and it seemed like I was able to override your screen sharing if I had wanted to, because I guess because I'm the administrator of this session. A new thing you learn about Zoom every day. So I'm going to pause to ask if there are any questions. Linda, if you or Chrysler have any questions for me, or just, points of discussion, feel free.
Hi, Craig. I just wanted to share one thing with our viewers. All of these databases are available for off-campus use. When you're home, you can click the links that we showed you, and you will just log in with your Key and Google email username and password. So everything that we showed you here today, you can use on campus and off campus.
No, yes, that's true. All right, if there are no questions, I'd like to thank you all for attending. I am going to share some more information with you. This is our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any other questions, not only about resources for Hispanic heritage, but resources for anything that we cover here. We're librarians. We love sharing information. So please don't hesitate to contact us. Okay, Linda, Chrysler, if you have anything else to say, otherwise I'm going to bring this session to a close. Thank you again so much for joining us. Thank you for watching. And we hope to see you in the library Learning Commons very soon. Thank you. Now I just need to figure out how to stop recording. All right, have a great day. Thanks.